Repeat after me. 2024 is the year of abundance and more. You see, one of the things that my grandma used to always tell me was that people will absolutely tie up your time, your life with their foolishness. And one of the things that she taught me to do was to spot the signs that I was getting overwhelmed and overworked early in life so that I could do something about those things. In this video, we're going to be talking about those specific things and how you can avoid overwhelm and burnout in the 2024 that will absolutely be demanding more from you this year. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means as well. I'm Dr. Angela Cudger. I am the founder of Legacy Holistic Health Institute, where we train holistic health coaches, you guys. And we are going to be starting courses that have health coaches that can become board certified and specialize in different areas. And so that is going to be super exciting. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for stopping by. I do hope that you find something absolutely amazing in this video and in the content on this channel. Be sure to think about subscribing, actually give this video a thumbs up, and just note that the content on this channel is geared towards women over 40, their health, their wellness, and their spiritual evolutions. Even if you're not a woman and you're not over 40, you're definitely welcome to understand, look at, and be entertained by the content. But just know that that's who it's for. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. Your likes, your shares, your comments, your subscriptions mean the world to me. You guys know that I love you so much. We're going to dive into the content. So let's talk a little bit about this year and what makes 2024 a different kind of year. Now, I said this in some of the other videos that I did, and I think I also covered this in the numerology or the numbers videos as well. 2024, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 is an 8-year. 8 years are all about abundance and harmony. So this is a year where a lot of different things that you thought didn't go together will start to come together harmoniously and begin to coexist in a way that you haven't ever thought of or looked at. And because of that, a lot of people are going to be feeling like pursuing different things that they hadn't thought about pursuing. And this is where the abundance is going to come from. It is going to show up when we drop our fears. It is going to show up when we are moving consistently. And it's going to show up when we push just a little bit more in 2024. And so, as a result, 2024 is naturally bringing the energy of requiring or needing more from us. So we must be able to spot the signs of overwhelm, and we must be able to spot the signs that a mental break is needed. And then we need to know what to do when that actually happens. Okay. The first sign that you might be overwhelmed and need a mental break is when you feel persistently fatigued. Here's what I mean by that. When you set up your day in the morning or the day before or the night before, one of the things that I personally like to do is stop at a specific time during the day, 5, 6, sometime around that, to review the day and set up for success for the next day. It keeps me on track and it keeps me moving forward with my tasks and not get overwhelmed. I can quickly review and see that certain things took much longer, and the things that didn't take a lot of time made me way more productive during the day. So the tasks that take me longer, you guys, I typically will review those tasks and see, why did it take so long? And if I can liken it to the fact that I don't have the expertise, then my goal is to find someone else to do that task. This is a little known secret that keeps me from getting overwhelmed. It helps me to consistently pass things off to people who do them better than me. And so one of the things that I love to do is review my day, see how productive I was. And if I wasn't productive, why? And what can I do to fix that so that I'm not repeating the same pattern tomorrow? Okay. But when I review things and I look at them, I can immediately also see if there's too much on my plate and if there's too little of another thing that I know I need to get done on my plate as well. So we want to make sure that when we're looking at this, we don't have a schedule full of things that we know are impossible for us to do. One of the things that we need to be aware of is the fact that some of us, especially if we're full-time entrepreneurs, we have several different areas in our lives, whether we're wives, whether we're mothers, whether we are friends, whether we are leaders, whether we are managers of teams, one of the things that we want to specifically be aware of is the fact that sometimes, in order for us to feel like we are validated, we pile too much on our plate. We put too much at the forefront and know that we're not going to be able to give it our all and do so in excellence consistently. And one of the things that I'm aware of is when I don't show up in excellence consistently, I notice that I attract people who do the same. They have multiple excuses as to why they can't do what they promised and why it's not at an excellent state. And it makes me feel like I shouldn't give it my all either. I know that's weird. So, one of the things that I'm starting to do in 2024 is make a non-negotiable the fact that the people around me need to be performing in excellence or nothing at all. And so one of the things I want you to be aware of is the only two things are going to matter. Only two things are going to matter by the time this year ends, and they're going to determine where you land by the time this year ends. Those two things are the type of people you're around and the type of books that you read this year. Those are the two main things that are going to shift the trajectory of your life tremendously throughout this year. So you can't be around people who are not giving their all, people who know they're not giving what they promised they would give, and they expect you to just accept it that way. You do not want to start and end this year being around those people. You will be one of them. And so you must create some non-negotiables that say, listen, you've been great, but I'm at my bandwidth on getting you to be excellent. I'm now in a space where it's either time to replace this or move on in another way so that we can open the space for the universe to bring excellence in. Does that make sense? So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to this. And where you are accepting subpar things and connections from other people, it will overwhelm you because it will make you feel like you've got to do more to cover what it is they lack. And so making sure that you are not in a space where you are getting overwhelmed because there's too much on your plate is the first thing. Okay. So that's the first sign that it's time to take a break. Now, besides persistent fatigue, meaning that your body's going to get tired from over giving and trying to pick up the slack from other people, which is why you want to make sure you have the right things, people, and connections where they need to be in your life so that you're not chronically fatigued. The next thing we want to be aware of is being overwhelmed, right? And this kind of feeds into that, knowing that you wear many hats and you have many responsibilities across the different things where people are expecting things from you. You want to make sure that you're getting the support you need so that you do not feel overwhelmed. When we feel overwhelmed as women over 40, we also tend to become a little bit more apathetic, meaning we just don't care or our motivation isn't there to do our absolute best. And that's not what we want when we feel overwhelmed. We want to make sure that we are feeling our absolute best every time. And the moment something seems like it's too much for us, that we recognize that we are not heroes and we have to invite the support in that is necessary for us. Now, the next thing is going to be changes in concentration. When you are overwhelmed or when you need a mental break, you're going to find that you don't have the bandwidth to concentrate on things like you used to. Here's kind of what that starts to look like. If you're reading a book, you may have to reread things several times in order to understand what the book is actually saying, or in order to comprehend what the book is actually saying. You might find yourself multitasking less, which is actually a good thing, because you're not able to give the full focus to several different things at once. It may also show up as your ability to not be able to hear certain kinds of things that people are trying to tell you or trying to get you to hear when you're in the same room or space with them. Your mind can be in one place and they're trying to get you to be present in the place with them and have a conversation. Our ability or lack of ability to focus because of overwhelm is a very real thing. And so we want to make sure that we are not spending our time scrolling social media, because that can help you, that can cause you to pick up energy from so many other people at this time, and it will cause you to be overwhelmed, and it will drain your ability to focus. We want to make sure that we're not entertaining people and their excuses and their way of life and the reason why they can't do what it is they know that they're supposed to do. We want to make sure that we are putting support systems in place so that we are not chronically fatigued, and so that we are not in a space where we're not able to be our most authentic selves. Last sign that shows up is a change in sleep patterns. Now, you might say, well, Dr. Angela, my sleep pattern started to change as I got in my 40s anyway. Well, there could be several reasons as to why that happens. But you want to be aware of the fact that if you're overwhelmed or if you're overworked and you have chronic fatigue, your sleep patterns are going to change during that time as well. And so we want to make sure that if this starts to happen, you know that this is a sign that you might need a mental break throughout the day. Now, let's talk a little bit about how do we actually fix these signs now that we know that chronic fatigue, change in sleep patterns, persistently being overwhelmed, not being able to concentrate fully. All of these things come from knowing that you need a mental break and how you need to take one. Let's talk a little bit about that now. So number one thing on our list is going to be prioritizing self-care. And I can't say this enough. You have got to make sure that you put your mental health first. One of the things that I decided to do this year that I've never done is to prioritize mental health and mental well-being. I know that there is a specific kind of life that I want to live, and I am unable to do that because of the mental strain that I have endured over many, many years. I have been able to function at a very, very high level despite these things. And I've been able to be very successful as a result of it. But now I feel like God is calling me to fix these things, or at least get some assistance with these types of things. And so you might feel the same way. And so once I dove kind of into this journey of mental health and mental well-being, one of the things I've come to realize is that every single person on this planet living in this era needs some kind of therapy. Period. Period. Your family members are not your therapist. Your mama's not your therapist. Your girlfriends and guy friends are not your therapist. And it's time we stop leaning on those people, because all we're doing is making them more overwhelmed. And they will probably never say it, but it's the truth. When you have different blocks and different things, you want to make sure you go to people who are board certified to help you, not people who you just know from around the way, right? And so you also want to make sure that as you pay attention to your mental well-being, in terms of self-care, that therapy is one of those things. There are tons of different and incredible techniques that are healing techniques that therapists now know. And so you want to make sure that you're tapping in to everything that is available to you on this planet. So your mental well-being is the first thing, and prioritizing your self-care concerning that. The next thing you want to do is establish boundaries. And I really do mean no being a complete sentence. Right? You want to make sure that before you get overwhelmed, before you overpromise and underdeliver, that you are keenly aware of whether or not you will be able to operate in excellence should you take this thing on. I know we got a lot of people out there that are like, I can do this in my sleep. I can do that thing in my sleep. And it's more than that. We want to make sure that we are doing things and operating in excellence, and that the practice, the consistent habit and practice of doing things with excellence is part of our everyday life. Okay. So we want to make sure that that is the shift that we're wanting to make as well. I will not take a project on if I know that from start to finish, I cannot give my absolute best and I can't give my undivided attention to it. I simply won't do it. I simply won't take the project on because for me, it truly is excellence to the best of my ability or nothing at all. Next thing we want to do, besides establishing boundaries so that we're not overwhelmed and we're only taking on things where we know we can do them in excellence, is we want to practice some kind of mindfulness and meditation. And these are also techniques that therapy can actually give you. And so we want to make sure that we are aware of not just one or two techniques, but several different techniques that we can then turn to or create our go-to for our daily routine. This is so important. If you do not go within, you absolutely will go without. So you want to find time to truly get deep inside yourself, whether that's with breath work, candle work, whatever that is. You want to find time to be able to do that for yourself, because at this point in your life, after all that you've given to everyone else, you owe this to yourself. You owe it to yourself to take the time to go deep and get to know you as best as you possibly can. The other thing we want to do, like I said, is connect with support groups. And this is huge because you want to make sure, and if you can connect with support groups that are connected to the challenges that you're having, but you also want to connect with support groups that are connected to the things that you love to do. Right. So get connected in community if you have specific kinds of hobbies, if you have specific types of movement or fitness that you love to do, or specific things that you truly, truly love, you want to make sure that you get connected in community in that way as well. All of these have to do with being able to spot the signs that we are overwhelmed and we are overworked. Listen, 2024 is not going to change what it requires from us to be abundant in connections, abundant in what we put our hands to, and abundant in self-care. It's not going to shift. That's the energy we have of this year. Now, while we're going through this year, I'm going to challenge you to make sure that you are actually giving your best to everything or nothing at all. You want to make sure that you are watching out for other people around you who are trying to give their best too, and share these tips with them because they may be in a space of overwhelm. And when we get in a space of overwhelm and we need a mental break, sometimes we just show up and give whatever we can. And no one wants to operate or be known for something like that. So know when to take a mental break, know when to stop, know when to do 20 if you need to, meaning take every 20 minutes, take 20 seconds and do something completely different from what you're doing. Or every 2 hours, take about 10 minutes or 20 minutes to step away completely and give yourself a little bit of a mental break and be mindful and consciously aware of what you do during that time. Listen, I hope you got something amazing out of this video. Please like, click, subscribe, and share this information. And also remember, every time you do that, your name goes into a drawing to be able to win mindful prizes at the end of every single month. All right. We will host a drawing that will be announced at the beginning of the following month or right at the end of the previous month, whichever one makes sense for like the next upcoming video, you guys. I love you guys, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Something like this.